It's your boy. How you long for say hey? And I'm here with your news today. So look, let's get right into it. Now, on Thursday, a 40-year-old woman driving a black Mercedes Benz blazed a horrific trail through a red light and a series of vehicles, causing a fiery wreck that killed 6 people, including a pregnant woman and an infant. The horrific on camera incident took place at the intersection of West Slauson and South Brea Avenue in the city of Windsor Hills. And that's about, I want to say, about 10 miles away from downtown Los Angeles, around 2 p.m., in front of several bystanders, many of whom witnessed the unthinkable as black smoke from the fire filled the air in the wake of the devastation. According to one witness, all of a sudden, a baby literally flew from the middle of the intersection to the middle of the gas station and landed right on the floor in front of me, said Veronica Escobar, an eyewitness who was pumping gas at a nearby Shell station. One of the workers came and saw me with the baby and took the baby out of my hands. Somebody tried to resuscitate the baby, but the baby was gone. Now, according to reports, the driver went about 50 miles per hour moments before the deadly collision. Now, that has been upgraded to she was doing 90 to 100 miles per hour. And I'm going to include the video at the end so you can see it at the end. Now, this is a notion that her friends attribute directly, and this is going to be important, to a fight with her boyfriend and all day drinking at a get-together with comrades just before this incident. Her friend was cited as saying she was drinking and she was not aware it was a red light because she shot straight through it, said a friend of the Mercedes driver. Ironically enough, the driver who caused the accident is a nurse from Texas and is currently being hospitalized after having sustained major injuries. In total, 9 people were injured in the massive car accident and 8 were taken to the hospital. Now, according to the reports, the woman responsible for the fatal crash that claimed the lives of 6 people, allegedly, including a pregnant woman and an infant, has since been identified as Nicole L. Hinton. The native Texan is a nurse who has been working in Los Angeles. She appeared in court on Monday, where she was charged with 6 counts of murder, 5 counts of vehicular manslaughter, after a fiery 100-mile-per-hour crash left a pregnant mother and an unborn child and her 1-year-old son and 4 others dead. Now, the thing about this, it was also uncovered that she had 13 prior major infractions against her in her vehicle. 13. And she was able to walk away from all this with 13 and still had a license and could drive. So the judge, knowing this, said, nah. Her lawyer asked for $300,000. He said, nah, boo, we're going to give you $9 million. Not $2 million, not $9.72. $9 million to ensure, because she had a job waiting for her, someone else, I believe it was in Florida. So the judge said, boo, you ain't going to be working for a while. And if you can't afford an attorney, we going to give you one. But guess what? You ain't getting out of here. So, let me go ahead and go to the clips. I'm going to let you guys decide and make sure you leave your comments below discussing this topic. Let me know whether you believe the $9 million bond is too much and how you feel about the daughter, being taken away, her 1-year-old child and her boyfriend, and like her entire family just wiped out. And you'll actually see the crash. So if you're a bit squeamish or you're sensitive to these things, you might want to click off, because Here we go.
A rapidly growing memorial for the 6 victims in that fiery car crash in Windsor Hills. Friends and family of those killed, along with community members, laid out flowers and photos at the memorial to pay their respects. Meanwhile, we could learn about possible charges against the speeding driver accused of causing the horrific wreck as early as Monday. A prosecutor from the DA's office has already been assigned to the case and is now working with investigators as the community mourns such a preventable tragedy.
Just the thought of this happening to someone who is just going about their day, and in an instant, their life is over. It could have been any of us, right?
The driver is still hospitalized and is now under arrest on suspicion of vehicular manslaughter. No word yet whether drugs or alcohol could have played a factor.
A woman arrested in that fiery crash that killed 6 people and injured several others in Windsor Hills.
It was captured on surveillance video. The driver is suspected of speeding through an intersection and running a red light in the middle of the day. She's identified as 37-year-old Nicole Linton, arrested on suspicion of vehicular manslaughter. Linton sustained moderate injuries in the collision. Among the victims, a pregnant woman and her unborn child. And now Eyewitness News reporter David Gonzalez is live in Windsor Hills with more of the crash and what we're now learning about the victims.
David, this tragedy has just impacted so many people in this community, and that is because it could have been any of us in this intersection when that crash happened. Now just take a look at this memorial that has been growing at this intersection ever since that crash took place, and tonight we're adding faces and names to some of those killed. We spoke to one family who's absolutely devastated by this whole thing.
We're still going through the stages of grieving, and we're just at stage 1.
Shauna Kerr and her family are in utter shock as they try to process the tragic deaths of her older sister, Asherey Ryan, her 11-month-old nephew, Alonzo, and Asherey's unborn child.
We're in denial. We're in denial because that stuff happens on movies. That stuff happens 1 in a million.
Shauna says her loved ones were killed when a driver in a Mercedes coupe barreled through the intersection of La Brea and Slauson on Thursday. She says her sister, who she called Ray Ray, had just left her home and was heading to her 3rd trimester checkup when the crash happened.
She literally walked out the door because we all live together. And she said, "Okay, I love y'all. I'm going to my doctor's appointment to check up on the baby."
Shauna says she offered to watch Alonzo, but Asherey wanted to take her son for a car ride.
Because when I look at my son, I see my nephew. My nephew was my son's first best friend. My nephew was like my son's brother. All they know were each other.
And while Asherey's family is broken, they are leaning on their faith for comfort and peace. They now look to the driver of that Mercedes for answers as to what led to the crash.
On behalf of my family, we forgive you. We experienced this terrible loss, but we believe in God, and we believe God does everything for a reason.
And here's a live look at that growing memorial at this intersection. And within the last hour, we just learned through Asherey's family that Asherey's boyfriend was also in the car, and he's one of those 6 people killed in this accident. They have identified him as 24-year-old Reynold Lester. They have also set up a GoFundMe page to help the family with all of their funeral expenses, and we posted that link inside this story on our website at abc7.com.